All right, and welcome everyone to Toad Learning Camp. And today we're going to talk about getting back to sailing. And I've got Daniel Katz from Celebrity Cruises here with us. So Daniel, you can take it away.
Great, thank you. I am just trying to find.
And I'm going to mute everyone. So Daniel, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Okay. Unmute, and for some reason, there it is. Okay. On the slideshow here. All right. So last week we had a big announcement, and our announcement is that we are returning to sailing. We are going to return with Millennium in the Caribbean. We're really excited about this. As you know, it's been over a year now since our last ship had passengers on it. We've had a lot of bumps in the road getting back to sailing, and our team was determined to get our passengers back on ships. The biggest goal we have is to get people on ships healthy and return home healthy. And so we are returning. Our first sailing will be June 5th on the amazing Millennium. She has been remodeled, so we're really excited about that to share that remodel. So starting tomorrow, our sailings will be open for sale. Tracy is ready. She's aware of what's going on. She will be ready to book your next sailing, and we will be sailing round trip from St. Martin. Okay, and you can see beautiful Millennium there. She's gone through her painting of the hull and the remodel. So what are the itineraries going to look like? So they are, and we'll kind of expand these here in a second, but we're going to be doing 7-night sailings. We're not doing short sailings. We're doing 7-night sailings. I think they're really good sailings, getting Aruba, Curacao, Barbados in there. St. Lucia's in here, all sorts of really good itineraries that people are really looking for. So 7 nights, we're going to rotate, and you'll see that here on my next slide. This is what we're going to be looking at, an example itinerary. So Saturday at this time is a late departure. We know that a lot of flights that are coming in, I was looking from O'Hare, one of the earliest flights to get me in landed at 2 p.m. pretty much. So with a late departure, it gives us a little bit of flexibility to ensure that guests who get in the afternoon are able actually to make the ship. The other thing that we should always keep in mind is Flights by Celebrity is a great way to ensure that you get on the ship, just because we guarantee your arrival. Okay, and Tracy can definitely help with that. We'll work you through everything there. So we leave on a Saturday. I like the fact that we're doing Saturday to Saturday, right? It's really, you are taking off. If you're working, you're taking off just those 5 days of work. So you can get in either Saturday morning, get in Friday night, either one, get on the ship, a day at sea, then we're in Curacao, another port day in Aruba, at sea, Barbados, and then St. Martin. So really, I think a good itinerary. I love the fact that there's a day at sea at the very beginning, because we've all been off a ship so long. It's going to be so nice just to enjoy that day at sea and then get right out with back-to-back days in port. So really exciting there. And then on the flip side, you'll see here, we do St. Martin, Tortola, St. Lucia, Barbados, and then back to St. Martin. So really, really, really neat. A lot of this itinerary was dependent on Tortola, and we didn't get the go-ahead from them until the very last second, and they jumped on, and we're very happy that they did. This is going to be a great itinerary as well. And you can see here again that we do leave at 10 p.m. So I think those late departures are going to be really beneficial for everybody. So that is right now the big news, right? So we're very excited about it. We are going to be sailing at a little bit lower capacity. We'll talk about that in a minute. But just to refresh your mind, if you haven't seen Millennium, she has been revolutionized. The dining room, Ocean View Cafe, all the public spaces have been updated, excuse me, and all the staterooms have been updated as well. So we are looking at bright colors. We kind of took away some of those rich, dark, I like to call them royalty colors, those purples, those golds, those deep woods. And we kind of brightened everything up. You can see here, Rendezvous revolutionized. Now, this is a picture, obviously, from prior to COVID. I don't have anything on what the ship is going to look like as far as setup that you would see here. Are the chairs going to be that close together for pods of 2? Are we going to have communal tables open? I am not sure right now, but I can promise you that the second I have it, Tracy will have it, and we'll be able to share it with you. But you can see what the decor looks like. Sunset Bar, everyone's favorite. I don't think there's going to be much change here, just based on the fact it is outdoors, it is a large area, and same with the rooftop terrace. The spa has been revolutionized. The shops have been revolutionized. If you have onboard credit or anything like that, definitely take advantage of going shopping on board. And then our suites have been updated, as well as our veranda staterooms. And you can see the decor that they went with makes them very open and airy staterooms. There's a feel when you're in them that they are much larger than with the darker colors. So really, really great update that we did here. And then, of course, the retreat. The retreat is an awesome, awesome opportunity to have an inclusive, exclusive experience for yourself. So you can indulge in certain amenities such as Luminae. You have a premium beverage package, prepaid gratuities. You have the retreat lounge. You have the retreat sun deck. You have all sorts of great stuff. It's all been updated on Millennium for you. So really excited that this has been updated, and this is the ship that we chose. It's a great ship for us to start back into service with. So when you are booking, when Tracy's booking for you tomorrow, one of the things to kind of keep in mind is during the standstill, we came out with a pricing strategy called Always Included. And it's good for every stateroom category, whether it's inside all the way up. And everybody will get the first Always Included pricing level, right? So that's included with the cruise fare. You get your classic beverage package, Wi-Fi, and your prepaid gratuities are in there as well. If you want to step it up and elevate your experience on board, we then increase your beverage package to the premium beverage package. Your Wi-Fi is still the surf. We have your gratuities included, but then we're going to add on a shore excursion OBC, and that really comes down to based on the length of sailing, right? And we can get you that depending on the length of sailing you're looking at. And then if you want to step up from there, it's an additional $30 on top of Elevate, so it's a total of $60 per person per day. But you're looking at a premium beverage package, stream Wi-Fi, prepaid gratuity, shore excursion, OBC, and additional onboard credit as well, right? So that gives you everything. And our suites will get that indulge package included. Okay, so it kind of just wraps everything up. You don't have to really think about anything. It's kind of out the door pricing there. All right, so now we're going to jump to health and safety measures. And there's going to be a lot coming out in the next couple weeks. I have answers to some things, but I have a lot of things that we are still working on in the background and trying to get answers to for you. So guests 18 and older must be vaccinated to cruise. Okay. All guests under 18 will have to take a PCR test and have a negative result on that. However, if they're getting the Pfizer, I believe, is the over 16 it's approved for. If they get that Pfizer vaccine, then they're, that's fine also, right? But over 18 would have to have, or anyone over 18 would have to have a vaccine. So you must supply a negative PCR test that was taken within 72 hours of departure time. Okay. All guests at the port will receive an antigen test at the beginning and the end of the cruise. That's all taken care of by us. All of our crew is going to be vaccinated. Reduced capacity, you're probably looking at, we're waiting for true numbers on this, probably going to be about 40 to 50% for the first few sailings. We obviously want to ramp up from there, but that's where we're going to start. This is all stuff that is subject to change, but we hope to have in the next couple of days everything really ironed out for you. But just understand that it is a situation that we're always monitoring, and our number one priority is everybody's health and safety on board. And making sure that should someone have COVID on board for some reason, I don't know why or how, but it's possible, that we have everything there, that all of our protocols in place to mitigate any outbreak of COVID. We are there to protect you. So all of our protocols are subject to change, and we will update them as time goes on. We will need a proof of vaccination. So if you're vaccinated, the little card from the CDC, you will need to bring that. And then again, we're going to finalize these onboard protocols, shore excursions, those policies and procedures. We are working through those. Right now, I don't have a definitive answer whether it's going to be a ship shore excursion that's mandatory, or if you can go off on your own. We are looking to guidance from Barbados. St. Martin is going to be one of the guidances. And then obviously, the other ports of call, Barbados and Curacao, are going to be the determining factors. So they're still working out their plans as well. So here's just a quick little timeline that I think, to me, I found this helpful. You need to have your vaccine 14 days, at least 14 days prior to sailing, right? You can't get your last dose 7 days prior to sailing. That's not going to work for us. Sorry guys about the dog barking in the background. And so anyone over 18, so we discussed that. We discussed the 72-hour PCR. You arrive at the terminal at the time that we're probably going to assign to you. I'm not really sure how the schedule is going to work for arrival. To be determined. We're going to get that to you. We'll do your antigen test. You go and enjoy your voyage. And then 1 to 2 days prior to disembarking, because we know in order to re-enter the US at this time, we need a proof of a negative antigen test. And so we are going to provide that on board so that you're able to get home once we do port. And then you disembark, re-enter St. Martin. You're going to have your negative test. You're going to head on home, and you're going to enjoy your travels. You're going to be thankful that you were able to get on a cruise and understand that our policy and procedures, they worked, and we feel really good about it. That's kind of where we're at right now. I know there's a lot of unknowns. I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions. Everything is still in motion, but we are going with that June 5th sail date out of St. Martin, round trip. And we're going to do that for the entire summer pretty much. I'm going to go back quite a few slides here. I'll show you how far we're going to be going out right now. We're blocked all the way out until the end of August. I don't know what September looks like, but obviously we're going to, as things move forward here with successful sailings, we'll have more announcements. There could be announcements very soon. So just kind of stay tuned for additional things coming out. Tracy will always keep you updated. So I will stop sharing. I know short, sweet, quick, but I really just want to hear from you guys. I will address whatever I can. Whatever I cannot address, I'll make sure Tracy has that information as soon as I have everything.
I have the
So,
first
yeah.
question for you.
Yep.
And if you don't know the answer off the top of your head, I know the answer. Um, so
Good.
Royal Caribbean, part of the Celebrity Cruise Line family, has been sailing out of Singapore and has had quite a few passengers on board. What has their experience been with positive COVID tests?
Sure. So they've been very successful. So they've been sailing since December or January. About 100,000 people have already sailed on, is it Quantum that's over there, I believe. They're all Singapore residents. And yeah, look, we've had on there, I think they've had about 10 cases of COVID. Now, over in Singapore, it's testing versus vaccination at that point, right? So there was not mass vaccination. It wasn't a mandate. But 10 out of 100,000 with no explosion of cases on a cruise ship, transmission of some big outbreak, all the policies that we have in place work perfectly for us, and we're good. Royal has some things in place that they're using, contact tracing and all sorts of stuff like that. I would imagine in the next couple of weeks you'll hear additional information. Royal is also going to be sailing out of Israel coming in May, I believe. So that is a different kind of experience that we're going to be looking at, because that is that's going to be a fully vaccinated cruise. So we will have kind of two different, I hate calling it experiments, but, two different cases to look at, right? We're going to be going, okay, it works in both cases. Does one have a higher success? Honestly, I don't know if anyone's going to have a higher success, but 10 people out of 100,000 and mitigating any sort of outbreak, to me, it's very successful and it's a very safe way to travel.
And
Was that the answer you were going to give?
yeah, I wasn't sure if you had the numbers off the top of your head. But Mr. Fain talked today in a webinar that I was on, and he talked about the contact tracing and how much easier it is to do on a cruise ship to follow up with everything that happened. And so in a sense, being on a cruise is a lot safer than going almost anywhere that we can go in our daily lives.
And he says that all the time to us, and everything we read from him is our goal is to make your experience on the cruise ship safer than it is in your own community, right? And by us being able to say, hey, look, everybody who's the staff on the ships or the crew on the ships and everybody getting on has been vaccinated, that's safer than you can say about Target, right? Or wherever you go. So I think there's still going to be a little hesitation, and that's okay. It's new for everybody, but I do think that people are going to find a little bit of peace there, knowing that you're getting on board and it's going to be safe. No one is asked the question, because I've been talking and Tracy and I were talking, but as far as masks go, I cannot confirm, I cannot deny either whether we're going to have a mask mandate on board at this time, as far as on fully vaccinated cruises. I just don't know yet. It's too early. They're still working through that. I would hope that we don't have to have mask pans. That would look a little silly, but yeah. So what other questions?
How often is the crew going to be tested? You're testing all the passengers. What about the crew testing?
They'll be tested. I believe they're tested every voyage. So the same as you would be. And in order for crew to come on, they're quarantined for 14 days. There's a huge process that's been going on for our crew. And I could probably find something that was released on that and share it with Tracy to get that over to you. But yeah, they're tested a lot more. And in fact, in the past couple months, to spread out the staff on board, we were giving each of them their own staterooms. So the living quarters weren't as tight and things like that. So we have made some really significant updates to our protocols. Air filtration was one of the big things that came out recently, I think, where we push brand new air into our ship constantly. I'd have to pull up the infographic. Let me see if I can do that. I may not have it handy, but let me see. So, no, it was something every minute or something like that. We're pushing brand new air through, but we're doing everything possible to mitigate any spread. What else?
Testing on the ship, is that at our cost or at the crew's cost?
That's at our cost.
Okay.
Yep, and testing at the port. Okay, so we don't, you get to the port, do your antigen test, that's on us. The only test that at this time is not included in the cruise fare would be your 72-hour PCR test.
And that's a requirement to get into St. Martin.
Yeah.
On the PCR test, are only certain people you're going to accept certain tests from certain labs, or is it anybody that's going to do PCR tests?
So at this time, from what I have seen, it's any PCR test. I would imagine if there's some company that we aren't going to accept, we'll make sure we get that out. But right now, I haven't heard any conversation of not accepting a PCR test from anybody.
So the PCR test, is that something that is required by Celebrity for everyone, or is that required just by St. Martin to get in?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
So we'll need to check both that it's a test that's acceptable by Celebrity, but also the company or the country that you're cruising out of.
Yeah, and right now, like I said, I don't know of any, and I'll take that back to the team. Bear with me 1 second. I'll find that out. I'll ask tomorrow. The thing to keep in mind is it's 72 hours, right? So we get that test. If you get it too early, right? You got to kind of play that game. Hopefully there's places that are turning them around quickly. I know my wife, myself, and my 2 kids, we had PCR tests back in September or October. We got them done at 11 a.m. and the next morning we got it done through our provider, our medical provider, but it was in our My Chart by 8 a.m., which blew my mind because I had heard of people waiting like crazy long time. So hopefully they're going pretty quickly. In the future, I think it's just going to get better and better. And, at some point, maybe it's not a PCR test, maybe it's just an antigen test. What I want to make sure everybody understands is all the protocols that we will come out with, they're temporary, most of them, right? We've gotten this far. We get one chance to do things right, And then I see in the future, as we move on to better days, the protocols will kind of ease up a little bit. What else?
So Dan, what's it going to be like aboard the ship? Will there still be shows, activities, entertainment? What'll change?
Yeah. So you are going to have a pretty normal cruise, right? We haven't really released any of that information at this time. I know, look, menus and things like that, they'll probably be available digitally. They're going to probably be available on your phone if you have that with you. Otherwise, we'll find a way to get a menu to you. Sanitation, personally, it's really never been an issue on board. We are an extremely clean cruise line. Cruising is a safe way to travel. As far as shows, I would expect that we will block off sections. Let's say it's 2 seats and then 3 seats in between and 2 seats and all that. A few months ago, we had talked about protocols and we imagined what protocols would look like. But now that we're doing fully vaccinated cruises, I think there is an opportunity to adjust some of those protocols, whether it's the distance or elevators or whatever it is. So stay tuned. In the very near future, we will have an update for you. But I think you can imagine a fairly normal cruise. I don't know about Martini Bar. I have no updates on that. But I don't think you're going to get onto the cruise ship and see a closed down Martini Bar. I think it's just going to be reimagined. Todd, you had a question? No? Okay.
Do you know if St. Martin is going to require the travel visa like the Bahamas is?
Tracy, do you know that
I
answer?
didn't see that. I just was looking up on their site what's required to get there. And as of right now, I don't see that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't ring a bell for me right now.
What is the travel visa, Tracy? For us that aren't aware of it?
It's just another visa, basically another document like your passport. It's just a visa to come in and there are several countries that you do need a visa to go to. And
Okay, but that's new for the Bahamas. That's not something you've ever had.
correct.
So where do you get
That's
that?
something new.
Where would you get it?
Through a visa service, like a passport service.
Okay,
And I can definitely help with something like that.
okay.
Yeah, and if stuff like that comes up for our sailings and whatnot, that's something we'll make you aware of, whether it's in documents or if it's a policy that comes out quickly. We will. I'm fairly confident my team will figure out ways to make things happen.
Okay, and this might be for Tracy to answer. Travel insurance, will it cover if the United States shuts down its borders from all these countries and says you're not coming? Does travel insurance cover that? Then if I had to stay in St. Martin for a month, would they cover that?
It depends which coverage you have. And it depends how long you're staying there. I don't see the country shutting down for a month, but for instance, let's say you do test positive at the end of the cruise, or you're staying after and staying a few days, so you have to get another test and you test positive and they're not going to let you on the plane. There are many travel insurance policies that will cover your quarantine time that you have to stay.
Okay, I mean, I was thinking, yeah, if I had tested positive, but look at the US and Canada, right? You can't go there unless you're essential, back and forth. And so the policy you would help us with that policy that we need. Because I normally don't buy travel insurance, but with this stuff starting to happen, down the road, I might have to start doing that because I can't be stuck in
Yeah,
Mhm.
a
we've
little
also,
country somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, we've increased our cruise care policy also to cover some COVID things. So, Tracy can obviously dig into that, but
Thanks.
now more than ever, travel insurance is a great thing. And hopefully policies aren't sky high right now.
Yeah, and the other thing too is even when COVID first started and most of the insurance companies said they weren't covering anything with it, and I mean they've changed their policies now. There were people that were outside of the country and needed to get back, and the borders got shut down, and they still made it so that US citizens could get back into the country. So I don't see that as something that's going to happen. Now, if you test positive, they're not going to let you back, but then you're just going to quarantine for the 10 days or however long the current requirement is at that time.
Yeah, it's tricky. I've been on a lot of calls. Every destination, I mean, things are changing so quickly that we had an internal call a couple weeks ago, and while we were on the internal call getting the updates, they had to update the updates. I mean, it's a moving target, and our goal is just to stay on top of it and get all the information, and based on the relationships that Royal Caribbean Group as a whole has with the entire ports around the world and cruise industry and things like that. We're a pretty trusted name, and people want to work with us, and we will get all the information that we need from our partners all over the world and try to get it out as quickly as possible to you guys.
Well, and a good example of that is when Danielle and I were talking an hour before this, and all of a sudden he got an email, and some of the stuff we were going to talk about, we can't yet. So stuff changes all the time.
Yeah.
Sure,
Very
talk about it.
frequent.
We won't trade stock on it tomorrow. We
Right.
won't trade on it.
Right.
We are honest. Believe us. Just believe us.
Right. There will be good stuff tomorrow. Sailings are opening and all that, but it's everything, because everything changes so quickly. We just want to make sure that everybody's set up for success and to have a great vacation. And like I said, it's a moving target every day, and our teams have been working around the clock. And a lot of people go, oh, what have the cruise lines been doing? Well, ever since the day that we stopped, we started working on our plan to come back, and that plan got more and more and more challenging, and our work has really never stopped. It's and the day we start, and it's going to be crazy again, and you'll see travel is picking up. Just get your vaccines. Stay safe. Get your vaccines, right? Hopefully.
Mhm.
That's all I got. Short and sweet today. If anybody has questions, feel free, send them to Tracy, and watch for an email update from Tracy tomorrow. She will be sending you an email update. If
We'll
not,
be posting on Facebook.
If not, watch social media. She will have some updates tomorrow for you. I promise.
9 a.m.
Give or take. We'll see. It depends what time someone hits a button, right?
Yeah, that's what we
it
found out
depends.
last week.
Yeah. It's a standby, but yeah, by I would say by noon, social media will probably have some good stuff out there for you.
Well, and it's good to see that your company is not just stopping at let's just try this one out. We're trying to do more things. So with Royal, we had the Adventure of the Seas, and now yesterday they announced the Vision out of Bermuda. And so it's just good to see that they're not releasing one and test that out for a little while. So they made the plans to do
And
what they need to.
and we've been sailing. We have a brand called Hapag Lloyd over in Europe, and they've been sailing for quite some time. Silver Sea, you know, so there are ships out there. So yeah, we're going at it. We're not going crazy, but I think as you start seeing success with sailings, we're going to ramp up fairly quickly, and then we can increase capacities. We can increase the amount of ships, the different destinations, and all that. So hang tight, you guys. It's been awesome to, you know, hear people's feedback over the stoppage time. I appreciate you guys sticking, you know, with it and being, you know, excited to cruise again. We will get there, and, you know, hopefully the next time I'm on, I'll have even more, you know, more news and better news, and maybe we will have even sailed.
Or maybe we'll be talking about Galapagos for Kathy's birthday next year.
There you go. Do it sooner than later.
It's booked.
Yep, it's gonna be good. People are loving it. It's booking like crazy right now. So it's the demand for everything is there. You know, so the sooner you you know, get deposits down and things like that and hold your space, the better off you're going to be, because pricing is just going to kind of tick up from here, I think.
Well, and that's the thing that's hard to understand too. And I've tried to pass that message along, but you don't want people to think that I just want the sale. And so I'm trying to make it sound like it's important to do it now, but it really is important to do it now. So many people have put off their trips, not just because of COVID, but because they're not sure when it's going to come back. So they put it off till next year, and so much is filled already. And
yeah, prices go up, and look, if we're running at a lower occupancy on our ship, prices are a little bit higher, but the price just to do business, right, has gone up for everything. So yeah, the earlier you book, the better. You know, you'll be in good shape, and we'll always help you guys out.
And we can always get if a lower price comes out, we can always get it adjusted. So there's not a risk in that. It's more important to make sure that you're on the sailing that you want than to wait.
Exactly. Cool.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.